What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to cover the 2026 National Championship. I'm going to talk about my placing, how it went, my thought process for every single attempt / every single movement, squat, bench, and deadlift. Then I'll give you my thoughts on how the meet went, and then my thoughts on what's going to happen moving forward. What's the next meet? Is there going to be a next meet? What the plan is in general, okay? But before we dive into that, I do ask a favor from you guys. My dad is in the hospital. He's okay. He's stable now, but he was rushed to the ER by ambulance Thursday. Today is Friday, and he will be in the hospital all weekend. But I do think that he will be, they'll let him come home by next week. You know, we're hoping. Long story short, don't want to, go too deep into it, but he had an acute asthma attack while he was with my sister. Thank God my sister was with him. She called an ambulance, got him to the ER. He is now stable. He is on oxygen, some steroids, and I believe a nebulizer every 4 or 6 hours, whatever. There's no point in getting into it. But in short, he is okay. But I do ask that you keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. Okay. Let's dive into nationals. So the entire training year has been very difficult. We really, I don't want to say I didn't make any progress over the past training year because that just simply wouldn't be true. But the past training year was extremely difficult. I don't think we had a single string of consecutive quality training blocks. And for those of you who don't know, training blocks for me are about 4 weeks long. So I'm talking about not having more than 2 consecutive or one, whatever, having more than a couple consecutive training blocks, a couple months, a string of months of quality training. That's really bad because that means that we're not building momentum. That means that there's got to be a reason why we're not making progress or we're not able to build that momentum. And usually that reason is too much fatigue, injury, stress, whatever it is. And those things have negative effects on net outcomes when you look at your total training year. And so, and now that said, although I as an athlete, I have no choice but to analyze every nook and cranny. Yes, I have to look at the programming. Yes, I have to look at the nutrition. Yes, I have to look at my sleep patterns and all that stuff, absolutely. But it wouldn't be fair to the training. It wouldn't be fair to the nutrition, also the stuff, if we didn't acknowledge the fact that the past year and a half, really since 4 to 6 weeks out of last year's nationals, my life has been pretty challenging. I don't want to fucking wallow in my own pity here and complain because there are so many people in far worse circumstances, especially given the political climate right now. But I still want to be real with you guys. I want to share with you guys what things have been like. I promise you, Jesus Christ brought me through to nationals. Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, the life, brought me through to nationals. I would not have been able to go through everything I went through and compete and still do what I did at nationals. And the craziest part, to do it while at peace, relatively speaking. I'll talk about that more later, but I need you guys to hear this because I promised him I would tell you. I have a close relationship with Christ. I was praying to Jesus that I trust you. My back, I fucking failed the 716. I thought the taper would take me home. I'd still be able to do it. But then of course I injured my back and I'm like, I don't even know if I can put fucking 600 pounds on my back, let alone what I need to win. And what's worse is this is a risk. If I even try, I may fuck myself up for months or years, potentially even, depending on how hurt I get, if I even just try to do this on the national stage. Because all it took was 500 pounds on squat and 500 pounds on deadlift for my back to get even worse than it was on that Saturday. But I told Jesus, I said, I trust you. I am leaning into you. I know you've got this. I know you would not abandon me. I know you would not walk me to what you will not walk me through. I know it. I know you will not abandon me. I don't care what anybody else thinks or what anybody else says. I'm going to keep moving forwards. I will. Because if you didn't want me to, you would have told me. If you didn't want me to be here, you would have told me. Right now, I was at peace, guys. I was worried. I was concerned, but I wasn't anxious. I I don't know how to describe it, man. I was just like, well, I trust him, man. I trust him. And guys, that trust has been built over years of trying to do it on my own, over years of fighting and bleeding and crying and all of it and losing over and over again. Like, it's been built through trials and tribulations like you can't believe. That's what took me. That's why I'm so confident in telling you that it was God. It was God who brought me through. Okay. So let's talk about the actual meet. So you guys have the context as to what was going on going into the meet. Terrible training year, lots of life stressors, and a tweaked back, all right? So first and foremost, weigh-ins. Weigh-ins, smooth as fuck. I weighed in at 91.62, I believe, and that is the lightest I've ever weighed in at a meet ever, I think, in my entire career, which is crazy. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not sure. I think maybe my very first state championship and maybe my very first national championship, I may have weighed lighter because I was still eating into the class. But yeah, man, crazy. Now, the downside is I think I cut too hard. And it's my fault. It's not my nutritionist's fault because her water load plan, like, obviously fucking worked. It got me down to what I needed to get down to. But the problem is she had told me, she put it in the sheet, like, listen, if you're severely underweight or if you're simply underweight at all, you can start rehydrating. You just need to be just at or under, basically. So, and I didn't do that because in the past I've missed weight. So I was like, you know what? I want body weight advantage and it's not a big deal. I feel fine. I'm not that thirsty. Like, I'll just wait it out. I think that was a mistake because when I recomped, and it could be an issue with my recomp protocol, but I followed something pretty similar to what I've done in the past. So I don't think that's it. When I recomp, man, my body just wouldn't digest what I was taking in. I just literally could not feel my legs until deadlifts. I genuinely, everything felt like lead. Like, my legs felt like lead. I felt like I couldn't use them. Like, the squats that I hit at the meet, bro, I literally didn't feel like I was squatting them. I was just praying. I was just like, fucking drop down and just hope that this shit comes up because I couldn't feel my legs. I literally couldn't feel like I could use them. And I think it's because my body spent so long in such a dehydrated state, because when you do that water cut protocol, that's not like sweating, it's just through sodium and water manipulation, by probably about 2 days out, 3 days out, you're already dehydrated. Like, you are dehydrated at that point because you weighed less than you did when you started the cut, for sure. And so that's already dehydrated. But now that's not just dehydrated for 6 hours going to the meet like I would be if I saunaed really hard. That's dehydrated for 48 hours, 72 hours. And you're expecting your body to bounce back from that. And every time I've done a cut like this, it's impacted my squats. It happened at NAPFs. That 750 that I had hit should not have been nearly as difficult as it was. And it was purely that difficult because my recomp was shit. And then also because I did that style water cut. It made making weight super fucking easy. The problem was that it fucked me on the recomp side. So that's why I felt really weak on squats, especially at the meet. But the weigh-in itself went super smooth and was super easy. I started that water cut at 210. I don't know what that is in kilos, 95, let's say, 96, I don't know, whatever. And I ended up weighing 91. So, or just under 92, basically. So yeah, and it ended up working in my favor because I'm pretty sure that's why I got third, because I had the lower body weight. But yeah, man. So that's that. That's why my squats felt like shit. And I genuinely didn't feel like myself. My stomach was just all fucked up. I literally felt like everything I drank was just sitting in my stomach and wasn't going anywhere else. And so, food for thought, man. I'm going to talk about, in terms of plans for the future, I'm going to talk about that, but that's what happened. Okay. So now we can talk about the actual meet itself. Real quick. Able, my apparel sponsor, this is one of their compression tees. I wear all of their stuff. They're having a massive sale in March. They have 2 big sales a year, Black Friday and this one. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. It means everything to me if you support. If you wear sweatpants, hoodies, oversized tees, compression stuff, a lot of their stuff, they do have some graphic stuff, but a lot of their stuff is very clean, very simple, very minimalist, which I like. And so if you buy that stuff, take advantage of this sale. It's going to be up to 70% off site-wide. It's up to 60% off on product, but then my code will stack 10% on top of all that you get, no matter what. Code Gavin10 if you want to support. I wear large in compressions and guinea tees, but everything else I'm pretty much in XL. The oversized tees, the ones that literally say that they're oversized tees, I sometimes size down to a large. But yeah, I really appreciate any and all support. That sale will go live March 16th. Pay attention to my Instagram, but I'll also throw up, I believe, the times and stuff like that in the description or in this video. But yeah, dude, any and all support really means the world to me. Okay, so let's talk about the attempts and stuff like that. So like I said, going to squats, I just did not feel good whatsoever. Mind you, I'd been training flats all prep. John was like, listen, because of your back, we don't really know what to expect here. So I think you should go heels plus depth. I think you should go heels. So I went with my gray Reeboks, which I've squatted a bunch in the past. It was an easy transition that day. And then he really wanted me to wear the stiff sleeves. So I was like, fine, fuck it. What sealed the deal for me for the stiff sleeves, was the fact that my back was fucked up. So I was like, I'm not even gonna fucking think about this right now. I'm just gonna go the stiff sleeves because John wants me to. He believes in them. And it was an easy transition. I wore them on Wednesday for my last squat session. And so it was like, whatever, it's a knee sleeve. I don't think that I really get much out of them. And I think the meet proves that. But because I've hit 751 in that type of like dehydrated state and shit like that in soft sleeves, I've hit it in the stiff sleeves and, whatever. So my point is we went stiff sleeves, but it is what it is. I don't know, or I don't want to say I'm never going to wear them again because who knows, maybe I will, but I don't think I will. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that, I don't know, like they're just a different feeling. Like it just feels like a rigid wall around your knee that kind of like collapses and then comes back, as opposed to like a compression, like a tight, thick compression sleeve that's going to move with your joint. It's just a different feeling, to be honest with you. Especially those A7s, because a friend of mine was borrowing them for a couple months. And so they were pretty broken in. So, but anyway, that's why we made the choices that we made there. 683 opener felt heavy as fuck. I'm telling you, I could not feel my legs, bro. Like my legs felt like I was pushing up against like a wall. Like it was just whatever. And we missed it on depth. You know me, I ain't fucking taking no risks with taking an opener again or a lighter weight. And then, no, fuck that. We went straight to the minimum number I knew I would need. The original plan was to go from 310 to 350. Judging by my squat performance last year, I believe it was there. I also believe that even though I had shitty training, because of how good my last squat went the previous week, 738, I truly believe that if I didn't have that water cut recomp issue, I truly believe 350 would have been there, which is 771. Now, in hindsight, it was not there, but I do think 342.5 to 345 might have been there. The other thing too is I kind of lost my position there because the way that I was squatting, just because of how my legs felt and being in the heels and stuff, I literally was just like slamming into the hole, and it still didn't feel like it was deep enough. And then coming back up. So if I had just had a better brace, just actually used my real squat technique, I think I probably could have grinded it a little bit better. But that story is for another day. We can figure that out later on. Regardless, we ended up with 751 pounds. As you can see, not too crazy. Wasn't super, super fast. Wasn't super, super deep either. I think it was borderline, if I'm being transparent with you. But from what I hear, there were a lot of questionable calls on the day. Honestly, I'm not really going to talk about the reffing on the day because it's irrelevant. It's done. Yeah, so we ended up with the 750 it was like 749 or 751, whatever it comes out to. It was a 340 kilo squat. Not having anything more than that really fucked me going to the meet, but I was still in the game, in my opinion. I was like, look, man, I don't care. We need to keep going. And here's the big thing, dude, which I was going to save for the end of this, but my back, I didn't feel my back at all. All I took was 600 milligrams of Advil. Yeah, Advil, just before the meet, which is allowed. And that's not that much. And dude, I didn't feel my back at all. Even failing 771, grinding up against that shit, I didn't feel my back at all. Tell me that is not God. Tell me that is not Jesus Christ. Tell me, bro. Just 2 days before, 500 pounds on my back lit everything up. You're going to tell me taking 683 while dehydrated, 751 and 771 while failing it didn't light up my back? Oh, but it gets better because throughout the rest of the meet didn't feel my back at all either. So I'm just saying, man, it's my man Jesus. So that's squats. Now, going into bench. I started to feel a little bit more like myself, but still not 100%. This meet was moving fast. If you look at the timing, it was basically a 2.5 hour meet for the guys. I guess, and for the girls as well. But yeah, it was a quick meet. It felt like Worlds, honestly, which I feel like I've gotten so much better at dealing with, because in the past, Worlds would wipe me by the last deadlift, 100%. And now I can tank it for the most part. So for bench, the strategy for pretty much all of my lifts now is basically just to do what I do in training, which is my last warm up is pretty fucking light, and then my top set. So to me, the second was kind of like my top set. My goal for this meet was to win on my seconds, believe it or not. So the goal was to go 310 to 350, so 771, 170 to, or 190 to 222 and a half to 225, right? And then on deadlift, the goal was to take whatever I needed to win on the second, which I was hoping was going to be somewhere between 750 and 771. That was the plan. That was the goal. If that's how things broke down, we would have ended up with like, if I did 350, what is that? 700 plus 225, is that 925? Is that what that is? What is that actually? I don't even know. Yeah. That's 925. So if we had gotten those numbers on our seconds, we would have had 925. Now, my bench, I was hoping I'd have 230 on the day. I definitely did not have 230 on the day, because that would have been that extra like 2.5 to 5 kilos I would have needed. And then, of course, my thought process was, well, if I blow up 771 on squat, I can throw in 804 or 782 or something like that as a third, not take it, but at least apply pressure to these other guys for their thirds, because they're going to have to increase them, because they're going to think like, fuck, I need a bigger subtotal. So that could have fucked them. And we already know some of those athletes didn't, or had a real grind for their third. So if they had to go up from there, they may not have gotten it. And then again, if I had that 230 on bench, then that would have really helped. And then going into deadlifts, my thought process was, well, like, let's say if I take 765 or 771 for the second and it goes well, I can go for 782. I can go for 804. I can go for that. And if I get it, then I'm really beyond the 930 range. So that was my thought process. Now, I was a little delusional given the training prep that I had, but I truly believe like the taper would take me home and I could do it, man. I truly believe I could do it. Obviously, that's not what happened, but that was the plan. That was the goal for this competition. So for bench, we ended up with 222.5 on the third. Great call by John. 220 was hard, but not impossible. 222.5 was nearly impossible. That was a true RP 10 grind. The only reason why I got it was because I was able to maintain position, which I will say that's a big takeaway from this past training year, is I really think I dialed in my bench tech. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But I would not have been able to grind that if it weren't for having quality bench technique. So I'm really happy with that. That was 100% to standard, because I held that shit out for a fucking minute, and then they made me pause that thing for a fucking minute. So even people in the audience came up to me like, dude, they made you hold that shit, which rarely happens. Usually people are the first to talk shit about the lack of standard. So Butt was on the bench, the whole nine. So quality 222.5. Obviously that set us up well going into deadlifts. Now, the plan for deadlifts, dude, I failed 716 the week before and did it conventional. Because of my back, I was like, I don't think it's worth taking the risk conventional. I think we should just switch to sumo and see what the fuck we've got. So literally, I took 3 warm-ups. I took 1 red, 3 reds, and then 550, which is 4 reds and a yellow. Those were the only sets I had to practice sumo before I pulled sumo on the platform for the first time in like 2 years. I don't remember the last time I pulled. I think the last time I pulled sumo on the platform was the first Sheffield, which is crazy, which was like 2023. Nuts. But when you got it like that, you know, you can do that kind of shit. I'm only playing. But name somebody else who can switch hit like that, who can fucking hit top end on pulls, both conventional and sumo. Yeah, I'll wait. But anyway, jokes aside, it actually went really well. I used that 650 as a feeler just to kind of see like, okay, what's my slack pull like? Where am I at? How do I feel? And it did feel a little hard, but it wasn't that bad. And then the 705, I think we took second, flew. Looking at the live stream, flew. To me, it felt heavier. Like it definitely felt heavier, but I think it's just because I wasn't used to sumo. Sumo is a very different feeling. Sumo is the opposite feeling of conventional. Conventional usually for me is pretty fast off the floor and just gets slower at lockout, whereas sumo is the opposite. It's usually pretty slow off the floor. I have to be patient. And then as soon as I can get that out off the floor, as long as I'm in a good position, I can lock it out. And so I wasn't used to that feeling. So I told John, you know, I was like, look, I realistically think my top end today on pulls is no more than like 340 to 345. So I was like, put that in. So he put in 345 or 350, I forgot. I think it was 345. And basically he was like, listen, you have a choice here. We can go for that 345. which I don't know what total that would have given me, but definitely would have been less than 920. I think it would have put me at like 914 or 915 or something like that. And he was like, we can do that. Or if Will is too out of reach for the third, we can lower you to 335, and that will get you in second. At the time, that was going to get me to second. And my thought process was, here's the thing. If he can legitimately total 930 today, it is beyond a Hail Mary, I think, for me to try and deadlift, like, what would I need? 804 to win. In the past, I probably would have made that decision, but given my back, because at this point, my back still wasn't hurting, guys, which is crazy. My back wasn't hurting, but I was like, I still need to be aware of that. The second piece of this is I would feel absolutely terrible if I miss my third deadlift, because then I have an atrocious total. And I just don't think that makes sense. Like, it just didn't make sense, because if that third is so out of reach that I would get completely stapled, why don't we try to position ourselves so that we can at least try and go to NAPFs? If we play second, we can go to NAPFs, and then I have a real opportunity to have really good training, handle my life stressors, and go on total 950. So that was my thought process. So I genuinely mean this, like, putting in I gave him the okay. If it was just me, I probably would have just put in whatever number I needed to win. But because John asked me and I trusted him, I was like, you know what? I trust you with that call. If you think it's smarter to put in the 335, I will give that to you. But he has to be super out of reach. Now, what's funny is that my videographer, Sean Boyd, he told me in an interview after, he was like, dude, I saw your face when John suggested that you go for second. And he was like, dude, the look on your face was fucking hysterical. Like, cause I was pissed, dude. Like, that's not who I am. That's not how I operate. That's not me. Go for second. What the fuck does that even mean? I'm here to win. Like, I don't care what it costs me. I'm going to go all in. And I don't know what it was, man. I guess just like in that moment, I was just like, it just doesn't, it logistically doesn't make sense for me to make that call. Like, and I still think about it, guys. Like, I genuinely still think about it. Like, did I make the right call there? Because I've made this mistake in the past where I listen to other people and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's right. I guess that makes sense. We'll play for this. We'll play for that. Perfect example is South Africa Worlds. I failed 705 on the second deadlift. And Rory Lynch was handling me. He was like, listen, if we put in, I think the number was 728. If we put this in and you get it, you'll have third place, at least for the time being. So we knew that, like, if I failed 705, whatever it was going to take first just wasn't even going to happen. And so in that moment, I told him, I was like, yeah, fuck it, put it in. So we went up 30 pounds and we got it. It was a fucking grind, but it was sick. And I was proud of that. Even though we didn't go for what would have won first, we came back from a fail, second attempt, getting stapled, to hitting it 30 pounds more and temporarily placing third. And I couldn't give two fucks about the placing. It's just this idea of like, what do I have? Let me give 100% of what I have. And so basically I had that same situation for nationals, and I'm not upset about it, honestly, because I know myself. I know I am the guy to go for the number one spot. I am the guy to make that leap, to make that jump. And in my head, I was like, you know what? I think we need to take what's there today. So I trust you guys. If 345 or 350 will win this, fucking load that. But if I need 360 or if I need 365, which is, I think is like 804, if I need a weight that is so out of reach for me that A, could get me hurt, or B, I don't even care about that. It's really more so just purely like, am I going to get stapled? Because if I'm going to get completely stapled, there's just no chance whatsoever. To me, it's like, all right, let's take what's there, but let's give 100%. Let's lock that fucker in. And so that's what we did. So that's the only thing, if I'm being honest with you, I don't know how I feel completely. I do feel okay about it, but I don't know if it's hypocritical of me to have made that choice. I don't know. But I am happy with the choice because it worked out in my favor. So that's why we ended up taking the 335, because we failed 716 the week before. We had no idea what I had in the tank. We had no idea what was going to happen with my back. And this was my first time pulling sumo at a competition in 3 years. So we had no idea what to expect. So a 740 pound pull is enough of like a gamble in a way. So that's why we took what we took. We ended up hitting second, and then I believe Dom from Purest Performance, hit 900, edged me out. So I ended up with an 897.5 total, which, guys, I'm gonna brag a little bit here. 2 years ago, the open world record was set at NAPFs. It was set at 901. I said it, right? 2 years later, with an atrociously bad training prep, flats, heels, back injury, failing deadlifts, fucking all this just sumo, conventional, everything's all over the place. All the stress, all this stuff. I total 897 and a half and placed third at nationals in the deepest, most competitive class in all of the IPF right now. 897 and a half, just a couple kilos below what was once the open world record that I set. And it's important that I say that I set it because this is now the new baseline for me. A bad day for me right now, like with a terrible training prep, with all this shit going on, with the injury, with all this stuff, is 897 and a half. Guys, a bad day for me back then was like 840, 845. So my baseline just keeps getting better and better and better. Like I now know that on basically any given day at any competition, I can squat 751 pounds. Like I know that that's my minimum. Whereas in the past, that number was maybe 700. That's a huge win. Bench, I know now, like pretty much 217.5, 220 is like on any given day, so long as I'm not hurt, I can hit that. Deadlift, I now know, even at my fucking worst really, so long as I'm not so fucking fatigued, 740 to 750 is there. And that's huge, guys, because bro, there was a time when I didn't know if 672 was gonna go up at a competition. So my point is there are silver linings here. There are a lot of positives. Yes, there are a lot of negatives, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there are some silver linings here that I think are really great takeaways. So we ended up totaling 897 and a half. We placed third. We definitely had a little bit more in squat if I was smarter with my call. All the other calls I gave to John because I fucked up the squat call for sure. I was too ballsy. I went 350, should have went 342 and a half, 345, but we talked about that. And yeah, and then what else was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say there. But long story short, or really long story long at this point, we had a decent day considering the circumstances. All right, so that's what I was saying. We had a little bit more on deadlift as well. I think we probably could have squeezed out 337. I think I took 335, so we probably could have squeezed out 337 and a half, maybe 340, maybe, but that 340 actually felt easier than the other attempts, but I did notice that my technique got fucked up when I initiated the pull. You could see like the whole left side got fucked up. So yeah, man. So we probably had over a 900 total that day, even despite all the shit that we went through. So anyway, I say all that to say, man, we had a decent meet. No, I'm not happy with it. No, I'm not proud of it by any means, but God will not walk you to what he will not walk you through. And I did not do that. God did that. And I gave everything I had. And this is, I think, why I'm at peace, because I knew I was giving everything I had. I knew I was still showing up. Guys, and I'm not trying to throw shade or talk shit. Like everybody's got their circumstances, and it's expensive to go to these meets. It's expensive to do these things. To go without a sure shot, or at least the real confidence to know that you are there to win, it's a big financial investment for that. It's like me asking you to spend $5,000 into something that you know you're only going to make $1,500 back. Who's going to take that deal? You know what I mean? So I get it. I get all that stuff. Also, just if you're injured, like why risk ruining your entire powerlifting career potentially just to have some pride to show up to the platform? Like I get that. I'm the idiot here. So I'm not trying to talk shit or throw shade on any other lifter. But there's a lifter who failed his deadlift a week out. There's a lifter who did tweak his back and hurt his back a week out on squats. There are lifters who had bad training. Like my point is this, I'm not trying to compare myself to them. That's not it. My point is I personally am proud of myself to a degree for showing up and giving everything I had, even if everything I had was only 50%. was only 70%. I'm going to give 100% of my 70% then, because I committed to this, I burned my boats, and we're all in, period. And let's just see where the chips fall, man. Let's see how it goes. Because you never know what happens. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. There were some very, very graceful calls or gifts that I've seen on some of the other lifters. I'm not going to name them. I'm not even going to get into it. But if those things didn't go their way, in some cases, and in some cases they really shouldn't have, we'd be looking at a very different situation. A situation in which me pulling for 914, 915 could have won, in which case I would have pulled that. And I do think I would have gotten it. So my point is this: you never know how things are going to shake up. It's not your responsibility to control the outcome. It's your responsibility to control your actions and your effort. And so if I am liable and responsible for my effort, then I'm going to give 110% of myself. That's it. That's all this is about, guys. That's it. And so God allowed me to do that. And I did that to glorify him, because that's the greatness he planted within me. That's the potential he put within me. That's what exists in my heart. My heart is so fucking strong. My heart is so filled with fire to succeed, to win, to be great, and to be like, just to go all in. But it's for him. It's like, look at what you created. This is what you fucking created. A guy who can withstand all of this and do all of that and still come out here. Like, that's who you created. And I want everyone to see it and then look at him, because it's because of him, and it's for him, and it's through him, and it's as a result of him. That's what this is about. And so I have God with me and behind me. Okay, so I didn't win. Oh, yeah, I've been there before, dog. So it's not about that. It's about your efforts, about who you are when no one else is looking. It's about, what do you do when nothing's going your way? It's easy to talk your shit, and it's easy to brag and be arrogant when things are going right, when people are clapping for you and cheering for you and want you to succeed. Who the fuck are you when things aren't going your way, when people don't give a fuck about you, when people hate on you and want to see you fall, when people celebrate your downfall? Who are you when there's a perfect storm, when you're smacked from this side, everything you put all your blood, sweat, and tears into doesn't work out, doesn't pan out? In fact, it gets worse. Who are you then? Who are you choosing to be? And beyond that, what legacy are you leaving? Who are you inspiring? Who are you impacting? And let me tell you something, man, I don't give a fuck what kind of success you have when everything is going your way, when everything clicks and aligns for you. That's easy. I want to see who you are, and I want to see you succeed and win when the odds are stacked against you. That's what I want. Those are the stories I fuck with. Those are the stories that I buy into. The underdog story. The hero who fought the dragon, bloodied, beaten, and broken, found a way to win, found a way to overcome. That's what inspires me. And I think we all walk that journey. We all walk that. Champions, not champions. We all walk that. But I do believe that it's who you are when shit gets hard. Who do you choose to be? Not only that, but finding joy in it. And that's been my biggest challenge. Finding joy in the adversity, finding joy in the hardship and the trials and the tribulations. James 1:2-4, I said this before, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds. Consider it pure joy. That's there for a reason. What is God's love? God's love is joy. That's what it is. And that's what they're asking you to experience. That's God's love. These trials and tribulations is a sign of God's love. It's not that he's doing this stuff to you, but he can use it for you. He can use it for good. That's how great our God is. So I say all that to say, man, no, I did not win, and I did not get what I wanted. I did not get what I came here for. And I'm gonna talk about some of the negative stuff with that. But make no fucking mistake, I showed up and I gave everything, and I took the risk, and I did it. And I don't want you to think for a second that it was me who did it. It was him. It was Jesus Christ walking with me, leading me through it. God will steer, but you must row. All I did was fucking row, man. I did it as best as I could. And in fact, I broke down a couple times in the shower. I broke down like, Lord, you have me. I will do everything. I'll do everything I can. I trust you. I just please, 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 please do not pity me if this is all I can give, if everything I can give is not enough. Please do not think, you're useless, you're worthless. That's not God. That's not God. God would never see me that way, because all God asks for is my everything, is everything I can give, all I can give, to try. That's what people don't understand. You don't need to be perfect. There's no such thing as being perfect for Christ. That doesn't exist. That's why he had to sacrifice himself. What he wants is repentance. And repentance gets a bad rap, but repentance is not for him. It's for you. It's for you, because the best version of you, your best life, exists when you are righteous, when you repent, when you recognize and acknowledge, I've done wrong, I am wrong. I need to be better, I want to be better. Not just for me, for the people I love and I care about. For him. Guys, it's for you. It's for you. We got to talk about some of the negatives, all right? I had a conversation with a mentor of mine, and he asked me about that. He first asked me for 3 positives from the meet, and then the second thing he asked for, he's like, so how do you feel about the meet overall? And I gave him a very well, like what I said before, I'm proud of myself for, giving everything I had, and, I'm disappointed in the result, but it's okay. We're just going to keep working. He was like, that sounds like a very politically correct answer. I want the real answer. Give me the raw answer. So I gave him the real answer. I gave him the raw answer. And then later on that day, he texted me, he said, listen, man, I appreciate you being vulnerable and open with me about this. And I encourage you to share that with your audience, because I think that they might find value in it. And so I'm going to share it with you guys, because I think you might find value in it. First and foremost, I am frustrated and I am angry. Not as frustrated and angry as I was at last year's Nationals. Last year's Nationals, I was very frustrated. I was very angry, because I was truly at my best, I felt like. And I felt like it just wasn't fair. Especially just the way everything transpired. I couldn't believe it. I had to embrace the fact that life wasn't fair. And I was really frustrated. And then this year, I'm more at peace, I think, for a couple of reasons. And I'll list them in a second. But I was still, frustrated because of this concept. This concept is, they have what's mine. Not only do they have what's mine, they have what I deserve. I've bled for that. I've sweat for that. I've cried for that. I've worked 10 times fucking harder than them for that. Why do they get that? Why do they have that? You know how fucking hard I've worked? You know how much shit I've been through just to get to this fucking moment? How many trials and tribulations, how much adversity I've had to endure, how much suffering I've had to take on and shoulder for what they get to have? Man, fuck them. That's mine. I deserve that. Why don't I have that? I don't get it. This is not, fuck them. I want that. That's mine. They have what's mine. That's a big part of the frustration. The other piece is, and I think this ties into why I kind of felt more at peace, just tired, man. Genuinely tired. And a lot of that has to do with training. Because if the training literally is fatiguing the shit out of you, you're going to feel fatigued. And when training fatigues the shit out of you for literally an entire fucking year, and in my case, arguably 2 years, because my training has kind of been the same and been how it's been for the last 2 to 3 years, you're going to feel beaten and nearly broken. You're going to feel tired. So literally, a lot of it comes from the training. But it also comes from the training in the sense that you're not making progress. You're putting in all of this work, showing up 6 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, doing everything you fucking are supposed to do, and you're not making any progress, let alone watching other people make progress. So of course that's defeating. It feels horrible. It feels exhausting. It's God, I'm just pushing up against a wall. That's so fucking budge, man. I'm tired. At least if I got results, I get rejuvenated. I'd be remotivated, because I'd feel man, okay, yeah, it sucks, but I'm getting something out of it. But when you're not getting something out of it, it's fuck, man. So that's part of it. I'm just tired. The other piece to being tired is I'm tired. Guys, so I've been powerlifting since 2019. I won my first junior world championship. I won a junior world championship and best lifter at Junior Worlds in 2021. With the exception of NAPFs, in which I hit 901, won best lifter at that meet, and of course won the meet, I have lost, are you ready for this? I have lost 3 open national championships, one of which I missed weight at. I have lost 2 Sheffield championships. I podiumed at one, almost placed first at one, but we lost. There's 5 massive championships I've lost. My entire powerlifting career has been a dogfight from the beginning. A dogfight from the beginning. I'm in the most competitive class, the deepest class. It has been a dogfight. I have to scratch and claw my way to the top every time. And when I get to the top, I just put right fucking there. And a rock pulls off the wall and I lose my grip. And I fucking come tumbling down and I slam into the fucking pavement below. Every time. Tell me how you're supposed to have the energy to just keep getting up. I keep getting up. Somehow, some way, through him, I have the energy to keep getting up. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that going into this competition, I was not tired. And losing again, I think part of the reason why I am at peace is because I'm tired. I was half expecting it. I hate to say that, but my training was going terribly. Guys, it is easy to talk shit and be confident about winning and this, that, and the other, what you're gonna hit when things are going well. It is easy to do that. Anybody can fucking do that. Anybody can laugh when they're happy. Try laughing when you're sad, right? It's the people who learn to laugh at themselves when they're sad, who make it through, who become great, who become champions, because that's what's required. That's what's gonna keep you going. And that's what I've learned to do. So to me, yeah, it's not easy to believe, truly believe, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna fucking do this. And I did believe I was gonna win, but I knew that my training was shit. I knew that my numbers didn't line up. I knew that I tweaked my back. I knew that I failed 716. I knew that I killed my dog 4 weeks ago. I knew that this there's no lying to yourself over that. There's only so many mind games you can play. So, part of the reason why I was at peace was because I was like, I got nothing more I can do. I've given everything. So I'm tired. Not only am I tired, I'm like, oh man, dude, I've given everything. But at the same time, it's like, I've given everything. So whatever happens, happens. I know I've given everything. But I've always said that, right? Like, if you give everything, even if you lose, even if you fall short, you can walk away being proud of yourself because you know you gave everything you had. But I would never, ever, 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 ever understand the athletes or be the athlete who does the minimum necessary and it's not even close to what they're capable of. I would never walk away from that feeling like special, like I won. The fuck is that? You didn't even try. It's not about the other competitors. There's a new world champion every single year, so it's not about that either. It's about you versus you. What is your potential? And just how fucking far can you push that shit? So there are some negatives. There were some negatives. And it does hurt. I am at peace with the results because now I'm very excited. Each year I've kind of separated myself more and more from the sport and gotten back to why I started. And this is a really important part that I think is worth talking about. Gosh, there's so much I could cover here. You guys are gonna hate me for how long this is, but I wanna get back to who I was as a powerlifter when I first started. When I first started, guys, when I totaled 880 as a junior and then went on to go to Junior Worlds, I didn't know who any of my competitors were. I genuinely had no fucking idea. I didn't even know what the world record total was. I didn't know what the best lifts were. I didn't know anything. All I knew was that I loved to fucking lift, and I was excited to compete at a national championship and try and win. And I was excited to just see what I have on the day. Let's just push. Had phenomenal training, and I totaled 880. I had a ton of fun during the meet. It was great. But then every meet after that, I started to feel the pressure. I started to learn more, hear more, see more, listening to all these coaches and athletes. Oh, this guy, this, or this strategy, that, and this, that, and the other. Oh, and this competitor, you got to scout, you got to do this, you got to all this bullshit. All this bullshit, dude. And it just clouds and blurs the original mission. The original mission was to just get strong as fuck and see how fucking far Gavin Aiden can push himself. Just how great can I be? And just fall in love with that. and fall in love with the reality that if I can push myself to the extreme and be successful at just that, I will dominate. My boot will be on these bitches' necks. Like, that's how it will be. But it starts with me. Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. That's how that goes. I learned that from Michael Phelps. And it's so hard in the sport of powerlifting as you mature in the sport to just focus on winning, to just focus on you. Fuck everybody else. Put blinders on, unfollow people, block them, mute them. And it's not because you don't fuck with them. It's not because you don't like them. I want the best for my competitors. In fact, that's one of the biggest evolutions I've made as an athlete, where I never used to really talk shit about my competitors because I knew, like, especially coming from the Bronx, like, be prepared, because what you say is going to come back to you. Not only that, but be ready for people to pull up on you. Be ready for people to press you. Now, I don't want a problem. Now, if there's a problem, no problem. Like, that's a 50 Cent thing. Like, and I agree with that. Like, look, I don't want any issues, but if there's going to be an issue, then fine. Like, let's settle it. We'll talk about it. I'm not saying we have to fist fight. I'm just saying, let's talk about it. It shouldn't get violent. We're grown ass fucking men, but let's handle it like men. Like, let's do it. That's fine. I don't mind that. And people know that about me, but I don't look for the trouble. Like, I'm not looking for that. Sometimes I fly off the handle a little bit. I'm a heated person. I'm a passionate person, and I've had my mistakes sometimes with that, and I've made amends as a result of that. But bro, it's competition, man. I come from I played football. My point is, my background is more in that sports, athletic competition, more aggressive nature, as are most of the top athletes. So it's healthy. It's healthy competition. But I've never really sought trouble. I've never really talked shit or whatever. So I always want the best for these athletes. And ask anybody, bro. Like, I go up to Keiko, I go up to Dom, I go up to Will, I go up to Delaney's a really great friend of mine. Like, I go up to all these people and I dap them. I say, like, I want the best for them. I give them words of encouragement. I breathe life into them, and I let them know that they've impacted me in a positive way, that they push me to be better. They push me to be greater. They push me to be a stronger man. Like, I let them know this because it's true. Iron sharpens iron. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I know people say, well, you are competing against somebody else in the sport of powerlifting. Shut up. Shut up. Bro, good luck. When you total 800 and he totals 900, who are you competing against? You're competing against him? No, you're competing against your motherfucking self. If you can total 900, you total 900. It's irrelevant what that guy does. Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Now, I get it that it's a game and it's a strategy, and based on what he does, we're going to do this and da-da-da-da. Fine. Yes, you're competing against other people. Yes. But in this sport, it is not you versus other people. I come from a sports background where it's literally me up against the O-line when I'm setting a block. It's me versus the DN. It's me versus whoever I'm supposed to fight in a Muay Thai match or whatever. Like, that's what it is. Like, it's not, that powerlifting is not like this, you know what I'm saying? It's you versus you. At the end of the day, you can only lift what you can lift. At the end of the day, your opponent, what he does, what he doesn't do is irrelevant in the context of you versus him. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter because he's going to do what he's going to do anyway. He's capable of what he's going to be capable of anyway. So it's up to you. Now, you may choose to throttle yourself, or you may choose to push yourself based on what your opponents do, but that's your choice. My point is, the competition, I want the best for my competition, because them pushing themselves only makes me push myself. So I love that. So I think that's a great thing. And again, dude, like, I really do think that as I've gotten older and as I've matured in this sport, it's become too easy to think about what he's doing, to think about the numbers, to scout, to be constantly looking at powerlifting all the time and all that shit. And I just want to get rid of it, man. It's not that I don't fuck with my competitors. It's not that I don't fuck with them. I support them. I want to like their posts and all that shit. It's just that I don't want that to enter my vision at all. I want to be locked in. I want to be in my own lane. Fuck everyone. Fuck everything. I don't want to see all this other shit. The only time it's helpful is when I see Ashton squat 400.5 kg, because then I know it's possible. Like, that's it. That's the only time it's worth it to me. All the other times, it's just like, for what, man? What is that serving me? So I just want to be like, man, fuck everything else, and let me just lock in. Let me just do my thing. Let me just love my training and just push myself in my training. And I'm not even gonna set limits on my numbers. I'm just gonna because why can't I squat 850 and bench 550 and deadlift 850? Like, why not? I have that build. I can do that shit. So let me just let me stop seeing all these people and then using those as the limits and the standards for myself. Because now when I go into these meets, I'm thinking like, oh, I just need 771 and this, that. Since when, Gav? Since when was that what we were talking about? When you were younger, the thought process was, bro, I don't give a fuck about any of them, bro. Like I'm here just to fucking push myself. I want to squat 900. Like, why the fuck not? I want to bench 600. I want to pull 900. Like, why not? And that's what I want to get back to. And that's what I'm going to get back to. So that's a big takeaway here from this. Like just getting back to having fun, but just like loving the grind, the grit of the training itself. And I always have, but like in a way where it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Like I don't want to see anything. I don't care. I just want to show up and fucking be a beast and dominate and let the chips fall where they fall, period. And if you have a good handler, he'll let you do that while he makes like the strategic decisions, or she makes the strategic decisions during the meet and stuff like that. So that's my 2 cents there on all of that stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I feel like is worth sharing with you guys in regards to how I feel about the competition. It does hurt to lose. It does suck to lose because I have been trying for years to win. And it does hurt because I feel like people have achieved what I deserve to achieve. I've gone through too much. I've worked too hard, and yet I still don't have it. But at the same time, man, I'm trying to stay humble and grounded and recognize, like, who am I? Why am I entitled to that? What do I deserve that for? At the end of the day, bro, it's just a fucking trophy. Like, you're going to let a trophy, that half of that shit's decided by whether or not the judges fuck with you, who's in the chairs, how consistent they want to be, whether or not they were yawning or checking their phone. Like, you're going to let that stuff, political bias, you're going to let all that stuff be what determines your value as a lifter. Like, no, man, it's about your effort, it's about your work. And if a gold medal comes, it comes, great. And if not, that's okay too, because it was never about that. It's about who you became in the process. And I do believe that if you do become great in the process, you will achieve great things. That's just what it is. And so that's my plan. My plan is just become the absolute greatest, best man I can possibly fucking be, and let all of the fruits of that come to fruition. Like, let that be what produces it. And instead that way I can be the source of all this greatness, as opposed to hoping that I catch greatness in a bottle. You know, like that's my thought process. And if that takes longer, fine. I remember last nationals, how I coped with losing was I reminded myself that I wanted to be the absolute greatest in human history. What does that mean? That means, so diamonds undergo pressure. That means I have to undergo the most. That means I have to be sharpened the most. That means I have to endure the most, because I'm supposed to be the best, the greatest. Of course, that's going to require more pressure. Of course, that's going to require more adversity. Of course, that's going to require more trials and tribulations. And of course, I'm going to have to learn more. Of course. That you can't skip that part. That is nature. That's a law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's how this works. You wanted this. You asked for this shit, so now don't bitch about it now that you have it. You wanted to get strong. You wanted to get better. Guess what? I put you in a position where you have an opportunity to do just that, but you still have free will. You still have a choice. You have to choose to move forward. That's on you. Nobody else, on you. He gives us that. So that's where the fuck I am, man, and I'm happy to be here because I asked for this shit. I asked for this. So yeah, man, that's how I feel about this competition. That's how I feel about this. I am 100%, guys, listen. I truly believe I'm going to cross the 1,000 kilo barrier. I truly believe, and in my mind, I don't want to set numbers, but 950 is like beyond the minimum for a 93. And I said this in the past, 900 should be the baseline for 93s. What's happening? It's the fucking baseline. It's the floor. 950 is like the absolute minimum that I am going, like, I'm just gonna let my actions speak over the next however many months and years, or however many months / training year it's gonna take to get to next year's nationals. But 950 is like the ultra minimum. And with that, I feel like there's still some mindset stuff that I would have liked to cover here, but I don't wanna bore you guys with all that stuff. All I'm going to say is, before we move on, is you just got to keep going, man. If you are going to take the island, you burn the boats. And guys, we are cut from the type of cloth where we have a growth mindset. We truly believe we have the potential. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep pushing. We have what it takes. I started to question whether or not I had what it took. Because when you keep losing, what happens is you get more and more evidence to show that you are not enough and that you don't have what it takes. Then you get the evidence to show that you are. So the more that you go, the more that you lose, the more that you fail, the harder it is to believe that you can succeed. That's one of the great costs of pursuing something that most don't. But the truth is, innately, I know I have what it takes. I know I do. It's in my bones. It's in my DNA. God put it there, man. I believe he put it in you as well. It's your job to grow that, to discover it and grow it, nurture it, fuel it, feed it. But it's there. It's 100% there, guys. So that's how I feel about it. You know, I 100% feel like I have what it takes. Not only do I have what it takes, guys, I was born to be the best. I was born to be the greatest, man. And not just do it, but do it with character. Do it with integrity. And it's a struggle. I'm not perfect at all. I struggle a lot, and I am trying, man. I really am. And I fail and I falter all the time. But I want to be somebody that my son would be proud of. I want to be somebody that if my son aimed to be like me, I would be proud of who he became as a result of that. Like that's what I want. And that's going to take, it's a hard road, but it's worth it and it's necessary. It is our obligation. So you keep going, man, no matter what setbacks you have. You show the fuck up and you keep going. And you smile in the process. You laugh in the process. Bro. You just keep going, man. You just keep fucking going. It's that simple. All right, so next steps. So, I'm not sure what the next competition will be. I would probably accept an invitation to NAPFs because I believe it's in August. And I think that gives me enough time to have a quality prep going into August. Perfect timing for a meet would probably be somewhere around November. Whether or not I peak for the meet as opposed to just do it just to get some comp experience, I don't know. But I definitely would like to do a meet before the next year's nationals. If nothing else, it just kind of shakes off the rust and keeps me competition ready. Because something I noticed, this was the first time I think that I've competed at a national championship, having taken an entire year off of competing. And I don't like it. You know, I just don't like it. I think that it's better for me to get used to the flow of the comp, to get used to making those decisions. And I feel like with each competition, I just become more and more a veteran. Like I just know how shit goes. I know what to expect, all that stuff. Like that comes with age and comes with time. I'm being 27. I'll be 28 March 18th. 5 years. No, I'm like 7 years, I guess, or 8 years, whatever, into the game now. I don't think it's 8. Is it 8? That would be crazy. I think it might be 8. It might even be 9. No, it's not 9. No, it's 7. 6 or 7. Whatever it is, I can just see it. I've become so much more experienced now between world championships and guys, I've competed at 2 open world championships, 1 junior world championship, multiple national championships, multiple international championships. Like, yeah, I've been through a lot. Sheffield's obviously. So like, yeah, like I'm blessed to have the career I've had. So, you know, with that comes a lot of experience. So I say that all to say that I definitely do appreciate more competition. So I would like to do more meets. So I'm going to be looking for a meet between August and November. Maybe I won't peak for it, but either way, I just want the comp experience, try out different things that we're doing, make sure that depth is finally fucking fixed and locked in, sumo versus conventional, you know, all that kind of stuff. The time to figure that out is not 2 weeks out from nationals. The time to figure that out is 6 months from nationals, so or further. So I definitely will be doing that. In terms of my training, I definitely, for my own sanity, will be switching up my training. I'm not sure what that looks like, but I definitely just need to change things. I need to, A, fall back in love with the type of training I'm doing. B, I need to find belief in my training. I need to, there's a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of problems that I see with my training and myself as an athlete that just simply are inexcusable. They need to be fixed. There's no reason why depth should always be an issue, whether or not I have the range, whether or not, like it doesn't matter. It's just, if you've chosen to be in this sport and you've chosen to compete at these competitions, you don't have a choice but to fucking figure it out because this is the choice you made, was to compete. So I can't make excuses here. It's inexcusable to have that happen, man. It just is. So things like that need to be corrected. I've plateaued on a lot of my lifts. And so I that needs to be changed as well, because I do believe extreme progress is possible. I do believe 1,000 kilos at 93 is completely possible. So training will change for sure. What that'll look like, I don't know, but I will keep you updated there. And then body weight. So this is another tactic that I think I'm really going to love is I'm going to bring my body weight down to below 93 for sure, like naturally. When I say naturally, obviously no PEDs, but naturally as in not a water cut type shit. I'm going to be doing like just trying to get rid of body fat. So obviously I'm like not super lean, but I'm pretty lean. I'm probably around like 15% body fat, maybe a little bit less. But I'm also like 210, 212 right now. I'm 5'5", so I have, I think, plenty of room to burn body fat and replace that fat with muscle tissue. So I think that I can easily, or I shouldn't say easily, but reasonably lose, 10 pounds of fat and slowly bulk back up to 205 or 208, but make it pure muscle, make it like really good lean tissue, lean muscle. That's the plan. I don't want to have to water cut anymore going into my competitions. It's not that I can't do it. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I don't think it's optimal anymore. I get the whole be heavy going, but guys, I know competitors who are heavy going into competitions, doing crazy water cuts and still don't make it. They don't do well. I've had every single meet almost I've had to do crazy water cuts for. And I will say I've had some of the best success having a bigger water cut and then, recomping. But I had last nationals was probably one of my best meets. And we did a simple, Lane Norton helped me do a simple water manipulation cut. And then we recomped and things went really well, I think, at last nationals, So my point is I've done it all and I've gotten mixed results, but I do think that it's a no-brainer if I can just simply be leaner. Not only will I like how I look better, but I'll be more jacked, will be more efficient. Muscle is what moves weight. Fat does not. So even if I am 205 or 208 or even 210, but leaner, that's a great thing. So to me, all roads lead to, or all signs point to body recomposition, cut body fat down to I'd love to cut to 195, 198, which would be 90 kilos. And then just slowly eat a little bit into the prep of nationals, because then I'll be fueling myself, I'll be leaner, and it'll be slower process. And I just think that that's going to be the move. So that's the plan there. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I'm missing here. No, I think that's it. So that's basically the plan. I don't really know what else is going to change necessarily. The only other thing that I'd like to do is change my training environment. I love War Room. War Room's a phenomenal gym. It's over in Whippany, so shout out to War Room. But the only downside is it is about 35 minutes away from my house. So that's about an hour minimum round trip on top of what is already going to be an hour and a half to 2.5 hours sometimes of training and cardio. If I add cardio, it could be 3 hours. So the problem with that is that's a massive chunk of my day that I lose. Whereas if I train in the basement or if I train at Powerhouse 10 minutes away, I get some of that time back. But training in the basement is no longer going to be feasible because the type of training I'm going to be doing, I'm going to need a lot more accessory machines and stuff like that. I could still do the whole train here and then drive, but I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just keep the flow of everything. So I have to find a really good training environment that I really like and that is feasible. I will be moving soon too. If I can really scale my business up and make things work, and if acting really kicks off, I might be able to afford to be able to have a place in Florida that I an Airbnb or something like that I fly to, and go back and forth between New York and Florida or wherever. My point is I would love the sun. I would like the ocean. I think that'd be a great environment. I'd be happier. I'd be healthier, and I'd be more excited to train, which is, I think just really important overall, especially because I'm someone who's very sensitive to my environment in that way. I really get a lot from my environment. And so that's something that I really want to work on. I really want to do. And then the last piece is I did buy the Alico bar. That's something that I forgot to mention earlier. The Alico bar, bro, the new one is, I'm going to make a separate video about this, but man, dude, they really messed up on that bar. I'm sorry. I'm going to be the one to say it. They might hate me. I'm probably going to get more red lights now in the future, but dog, the whip on that freaking bar. And guys, it's not just me. Every single person who's used this, who squats over 650, has said it. Dog, I very rarely recognize any amount of whip when I'm taking 683. It's very casual for me. The amount of whip that was on that bar with just 683 on my opener was crazy. And I kept hitting the sides of the rack. Why? Because the plates are closer to the rack because they made those collars on the sides thinner. Rookie mistake. I don't know why they did that. My goodness. They're a great company. I don't understand why they made this decision, man. And I don't know what they did to the bar, man, but it's like so whippy. Like, look at the videos of these heavy ass squatters and watch them gyrate and vibrate. It's crazy. Ashton, even he said, and if he says it, he's, in my opinion, the world's greatest squatter to ever live right now. I mean, he's natural. He's just got perfect technique. I genuinely think I think he's the greatest squatter in powerlifting human history, period. Like, he just is. So he squats the 881. Now, we can't complain about the whip of the Alico because if he's able to squat 881 with it, we can squat whatever we're going to squat with it, right? But even he said it. So if he said it, and you could literally see it on his attempts, if he said that the whip was just absolutely insane, borderline unbearable, then, it's probably true. So a lot of lifters have that experience. Now, what I will say is I think that this creates a very unfair advantage because it makes squats harder for people who are really good at squats, or it makes squats harder across the board, but people who are really good at squats and that's their movement where they're going to make up ground, it makes it now harder to do that. And it makes it easier for deadlifters. So if you're already good at deadlifts and plan on winning on your deadlift, now you have an even easier time doing that. So it just made everything that much more disproportionate. And it really bothers me because it's like, why did we need to change, man? Like, now this changes like that. It's just, bro. It's like setting a bench world record even. It's like if the pad changes and legitimately people recognize that they get more out of a certain pad than they get from a different one. Like, it's like, well, then the record's like, how do you compare the two? It's just such a, I'm not saying there can't be any innovation. I'm just saying we need to be more systematic and intentional when we implement these changes. It's crazy, dude. Like, whatever. But yeah, so the bar was whipping like crazy. I didn't think it was that big of a deal on my descents because I was kind of used to it with this. Because this bar's pretty whipped. The bars that I have here are pretty whippy, which you guys saw. But if I hadn't trained on these, that would have been a nightmare to adapt to. So that was that. So I did buy an Alico barbell. It was supposed to come tomorrow, but they rescheduled the delivery for Monday. Not nice of them. But I'm excited because that's the first time I've purchased something since I purchased those calibrated plates. That's comp specific, that I feel like this is a nice step in the right direction to get on something that's similar to, well, it's like literally exactly what I'm going to be training on, which I think is smart, like as an elite lifter, that's important. Next step is to, of course, get a combo, but I think they're all sold out of the combos, and those combos cost like $7,000. So yeah, so those are some of the changes moving forward. Yeah, man, thank you guys for supporting me, for believing in me, for being with me. Again, I can't stress this enough. All glory to Christ, man. I would not, guys, I'm telling you, I specifically said this to Jesus. I said, I know that if I make it through this weekend, especially with no back pain, but let alone like win or whatever, it wasn't me, it was you, Lord. I know it. And I will tell everyone that that's the case. And look what happened, man. 0 back pain. 0, guys, you don't understand. I felt it when I was just laying in bed on Wednesday. And by Saturday, like, dude, he didn't abandon me and he won't abandon you. He just wants a relationship with you. So I am in a contract, man. I have to tell you this because I promised him I would. And Jesus Christ, he is the way. And he loves you and he will not abandon you. He will be with you. I'm not saying life will be easy. It's just that it will be possible. So, and that's what the Bible says, by the way, now that I think about it. All things are possible through Christ. Not easy, possible. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? And why? Because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth anything. It wouldn't help us. That's just so beautiful, the way everything, it's crazy. But anyway, I guess that's going to wrap it up. I'm scared to look and see how long this video was. I think it's like 2 hours potentially of just me yapping. Something just fell on me. Yeah, it's like 2 hours. Crazy. Maybe it was like I put this like Gorilla, it's called, no, it's not called Gorilla, whatever. It's basically just dry powder that I put in my hair first, and then I put like a matte clay. but sometimes the white dust from it falls on me. Anyway, yeah, I cannot thank you guys enough for supporting me and being here. If you guys would like to work with me one-to-one, my coaching application is still live. It's still open. We've got a brand new training app launching soon. I've got one coach under me as well, who, shout out to Max Hall, phenomenal athlete, also really great coach, super attentive. He does a lot of work actually with powerlifting now. And he's been a friend of mine for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, but he's also been a client of mine for like 4 or 5 years now. And just a great guy overall. And so, yeah, he is like the first coach under me, which is awesome. Really excited about that. So yes, if you guys are looking for coaching, strength and hypertrophy coaching, I'm happy to take you on or at least have the call. So I'll put that link in the description as well. And yeah, man, it's been a wild ride, but I truly believe I have what it takes to be the absolute greatest, to be the absolute best. And it is not if, but when. I was born to dominate. I was born to be the greatest. I just know I was. I can feel it in my bones. I sense it in my blood, man. It's just, this is what it takes. You said you wanted it. You said you were willing to do whatever it took. So what if it takes years of showing up and falling short, learning, sharpening, falling, failing? Would you give up? Because you said you wanted it. You said you'd do whatever it took. Oh no, you thought that whatever it took meant watching a motivational YouTube video while you did some cardio and then you go step on the platform and you win it all. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. My time will come. And when it does, it will continue for as long as I want it to. Period. Yeah. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And if you're going to take the island, you burn the boats. All right, guys. Burn your ships. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video. Peace.